and see what you find, because there's not going to be many. Hey everybody, hope you had a great trading day. We have a lot of ground to cover, and what we were expecting and what we got were two different things. So what really set us off today was not just the financial news from yesterday. I think the fact that we're going into a recession, which is, in my opinion, almost inevitable at this point, is factored in. The speed in which we're going to get there might be a little higher than we thought with Russia's move to start limiting gas to Germany. Remember, we're all connected now. So in other words, everything is global. Until we start having some separation, we're going to have these kinds of issues. Now, why Tesla and how does that affect Tesla? Well, costs go up, shipping goes up, right? So now you're in a position where this is where you close, this is where you open. So this was basically a beautiful trap. I don't think it would have been this bad had Russia not done what they did, had Europe not been down so much. Europe got hit pretty hard yesterday. And you can also see what happened to oil prices, which we will get into energy today as well. But I just want to talk about Tesla because it's really the barometer, and it's basically like trading the Qs on steroids right now. And you can just see right here, you closed at 700. Everyone's high-fiving, feeling pretty good about themselves. It was the only stock out of the leaders that really closed above the 5-day moving average. So that made you feel warm and fuzzy going into the evening. And you didn't feel too warm and fuzzy this morning. Opens, gets to the 5, and just sits there. Comes down, takes out the low. Technically, I don't see how this could possibly bounce here. But if you have a failed H bounce here, this is where it would happen. So keep your eye on this level. Now, this should actually be right here. And that exact number is 620.57. Tomorrow is quad witching, and we should get this out of the way now. It is extremely volatile off the open. The first 45 minutes are extremely volatile. Then it starts to get to a point where it starts getting tighter and tighter during the day. And the reason for that is because of the arbitrage opportunities that are there. So during quad witching, you have derivatives of stock index futures, stock options, stock index options, single stock futures expire. Only happens 4 times a year, and we're fortunate enough that it happens tomorrow. And then we have a 3-day weekend into that. So I don't know who's going to be that excited to go long tomorrow. You might see some put closing and that might rally the market a little bit. But overall, I expect light volume as far as actual ownership tomorrow. But you will see volatility, and then you'll see volatility again at the end of the day. That end of the day volatility will determine more where we're positioning ourselves than the beginning of the day volatility. The beginning of the day is closing those positions that expire. The end of the day is what you need to focus on. And we'll go through the indexes at the end as always. But let's just spend a minute here. Just get this. 620, you break that, all bets are off. And by all bets, I mean that this is going lower. Always look at multiple time frames. Go out a little bit further. This will tell you everything you need to know. If you take that out, okay, you take out 620.57, you're essentially taking out this entire bar, all right? It's nothing but air here. So that breaks. I don't see how you're not going down another 100 points. Now, it's not going to happen in a day, but I don't see how you're not getting back to that 500 level, which is where the stock split. A lot of people are concerned, and I know I'm spending a lot of time about Tesla today, but this is possibly going through. Now, what price, I don't know. Musk met with them today, but just kind of keep your eye on this, and it might take a year or two, but I really do think that he's going to buy the company. I just don't know at what price. And considering the information that's coming out on Snap and how this is being downgraded, now it's $12, right? I mean, we've all seen the decimation. The only thing that's really holding Twitter up, right, is the fact that Musk is buying it. If Twitter was not being purchased, okay, I keep typing in the Facebook symbol and they changed their name to Meta, but we know better. So you can see that break right here. And you can see how this is coming down. Like, this is just an uber short, okay? Why is this an uber short still? Here was your base all the way out from February 9th all the way down to here, right? Bonk, bonk, bonk. And they kept walking us down, and you can see this. Apparently, Cheryl had some issues there. I don't really care. That's not the issue for this. The issue is that this guy wants to take everybody into the metaverse, and all we're looking for right now is stability of earnings. Right, that's all people are looking for, stability of earnings. We can't find it. No one wants to hear about his 5-year time horizon on the metaverse, how we're going to wear goggles and walk around like giraffes. Nobody cares, right? All they're looking for right now is to make money. So he would have been better off cost cutting somehow, whether it's employees or staff however he could do it and increasing earning. The companies that have done that have fared the best. When you see, and they have still come in. Like CRM did it on their earnings call. Just to put this in perspective, this is where CRM came in and walked through their entire cost cutting and what they were going to do and how they were planning. You still came back from it, but you held your ground versus other companies that have not shown that level of fiscal responsibility. Fiscal responsibility is what people are looking for now, and they're going to gear themselves towards that. So just keep that in mind. Tomorrow, expect volatility. I do want to just kind of walk through Bitcoin so you can understand some short ideas. Look for stocks that are defying what's going on right now. We're not going to go down forever. And quite frankly, I would just like to wash out and move forward. But what I want and what I'm getting are two different things. I just think it's very interesting that, yes, this is low down here. And yes, we broke again right here, but we're not as low as we once were here, but we're still in a position where this was lower. So we can't really go out there and say that we have a positive divergence, right? Because this actually closed at 117.27, and here we are at 117.90. But what we can say is we have a stock closing about above the 5-day. I mean, there's probably 4 of those right now. I know I make myself laugh with my jokes, but here's the second one, right? CRSP. These types of stocks, and I put this in the free newsletter last night. If you don't get the free newsletter, there's a link in the description of this video. Simply click it and you can get it. But look for things like this, right? Like, do I really have an island reversal, right? Like, yes, I do. I have an island reversal here. I've got a gap here and I've got a gap here. That's crazy. So at 2 green bars into this today, I have a higher high. How many stocks hit a higher high today? Right? I bet you it's single digits. So you want to focus on things like that. For whatever reason, they love Walmart, probably because we're not going to be able to shop anywhere else because we're all going to be broke if the market goes down. You do this 10 more days and we're at 0. So anyway, see what's going on here? Look at this and just see if it can push. Start overlaying more averages with it and you can start seeing we got right to the 21-day. How many stocks are above their 50-day? How many stocks just rally to their 200-day, right? And all this did, now I'm going to clean some of these off, but all this did was get overbought, come back down to the neutral line and work off the overbought and then go back up. So you need to pay attention to things like that because there are signs of bases, and we do have a base here, don't we? So maybe we should pay attention to that base and maybe overlay something else and see how we're acting. And this is the Ichimoku Cloud, and I'd recommend that you start putting it on your computer and start using this on your device. This is TrendSpider that I'm using. There's a link in the description if you want a free trial to it. But I think everybody has this, but just look at the cloud, not the rest of it right now. I'll link a video at the end on how to use this properly. All I would say to you is the times that we are popping out of the cloud, this is done extremely well, and it will continue to do that and run through a litany of your names that you're looking at and see what you find, because there's not going to be many, and they're going to possibly be the new leaders. Now, it makes sense that biotech would be the new leaders, right? And the reason behind that is they're not as affected by, let me clear all this off. They're not as affected by what's going on out there in regards to inflation and recession. Okay, are they going to have to deal with multiple compression? Yes, the whole market's going to have to deal with multiple compression. And we even saw that today, right? We'll talk about the 10-year next. But what is this going to show us? This is going to show us that we can hold this level, right? We didn't take out a lower low today on XBI, did we? No. IBB hung right in there. How about the SOX? How'd the SOX do today? Okay, not so well. So might be time for a new leader. And that's where I'm going with this. So that's really what I want you to focus on. New leadership. They don't care about inflation. If you need the drug or they come out with a good drug and you need it to live, you're going to take the drug. Okay, that doesn't mean that you need to go buy a new semiconductor chip or a new NVIDIA graphics card. Very different businesses. So focus on that. Focus on names that are in healthcare. All right. Those names are going to hold up. Look at that look what's going on right here. Okay. Completely oversold on healthcare. Wouldn't be the worst thing to possibly look at those names for a bounce. They would be the ones that you know that you're going to need it. You know that people are going to want that. And so you might want to focus on names like that. You might see some stability start happening in Clorox. Kind of weird to see Clorox trading at levels like this, right? Where you are in a position where the RSI is 23. I mean, if we bought every time the RSI was 23, we actually did okay, didn't we? Right? We didn't do half bad if we had patience. Something to think about. But I do want to clean up all these indicators, and I just want to talk about Bitcoin for a minute because of two other trades that I think you should be watching. This is really nasty, okay? Now, after hours, it looks like we're down even more. Let me just see if they'll update it here. They won't on the futures. But, oh, there it is. It's updated. But see how you've encapsulated these bars? And we all know from my talks ad nauseum how I push that these are wicks or rejection, right? These are all rejection, these wicks, right? So that means the price rejection. If you see a wick, we think price rejection. That means nobody wanted to sell. Well, how are they feeling about that today? It looks like they changed their mind. Looks like I have a bear flag sitting right on support. How's that been going? Here was one. It took about a month and then it broke. So, and then we went from 30 to 20 in about a week. Be very careful with these. Okay, there's a lot going on out there. This Celsius going bankrupt. They're trying to figure out how Celsius is tied to Tether and whether or not Tether has some liquidation issues that they may have to do in regards to Celsius. And the assets that they would sell apparently are Bitcoin. You have MicroStrategies, which we have had a perma short on for some time. It's hanging in there because of the short covering and put covering. I think Monday, Tuesday will be a different, actually Tuesday next week will be a different story because we have a 3-day weekend, as I mentioned. But I still like that as a short. I still like coin as a short, even though we didn't see that momentum on the downside. But I do think we should wrap up with two things. Number one, okay, this is TNX. Okay, this is the 10-year. Okay, look at this. We would call this a what? A bearish engulfing right here, completely encapsulating that bar. Right? We might fill this gap to 317. They are buying bonds, okay? They are buying bonds. Here's junk. But they're not buying junk. In other words, we gapped down on junk and stayed down. Where's the money going? Okay, the money's going into treasuries. Why is the money going to treasuries and not going into junk? Because they're flight to safety. To me, that means that the equity markets have more risk ahead of them. If you were going into all bonds, I'd feel better. You're not. You're just going to treasuries. You might want to play that again and just remember that one distinction we just went over. And then how is the market reacting? Not very well to what we saw today, is it? So you have these gap downs, exhaustive gap downs. And now what do I have here? I have an island, okay? I have a bearish island just sitting there, all right? So that's not really what we want to see. So I'm just going to tell you to be really careful tomorrow. We are grossly oversold. The NDX percentage of stocks at the 200-day moving average is at 5. Okay, to put it in perspective, the lowest during the pandemic was 7. We have not been at 5 since the financial crisis. So we are grossly oversold and could bounce at any time, but there's nothing redeeming about looking at these charts. If you're interested in specific alerts and entries and exits, consider joining the trading room. There is a link in the top right corner. You can click that and get a sneak peek of what it looks like, how the alerts are set up, what the trading room looks like, etc., the newsletters. As always, subscribe to the channel. Click all notifications when you subscribe because I've been putting out private videos that you should be getting. And like the video because it helps support the channel and if you want to keep seeing the content. But frankly, I'm going to keep doing it anyway. But I still would appreciate the like. That's it. Everybody have a great 3-day weekend. I'm still going to come out with a video on Saturday for stocks to watch for the next week. But trade to win tomorrow. And worst case, just stay out of the way and just let the day play itself out. All right, everyone. Have a great evening.